council meeting. For those of you who can, please join me in the pledge and stand. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. The next item is a special presentation, the Parker Police Department Citizens Police Academy recognition. Chief or Chris, I don't know who's going to maybe approach and kind of give us a little detail, or they don't want to listen to me, Chris. They want to listen to the police department.
All right. Mayor, Council, thank you very much for having us at this special presentation for the graduates of the 36th Citizens Academy that we've run. 925 people have graduated now from this program. It's fantastic. I love being a part of this program. It's a really great, positive piece of my job. So I'm super proud to be standing here, proud of these folks, and I'd like to just get them in front of y'all and take a cool picture.
You bet. No.
Okay.
Again, thank you, everyone, and Chief, please feel free.
No, just to add to what Chris was saying, I think it's great. You know, it helps, give our citizens a different perspective of what we do. They get an inside look of how the operations of the police department work. The passion that the officers have and our staff has to the community. And I think when they first started, they thought 15 weeks was a long time, and 15 weeks has come and gone, and should we up it to 20? Is that good? What do you think? Right? Yeah. Now they just have to figure out what they're going to do on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
But congratulations. Thank you for your interest, and we appreciate the support. And then now you guys can all go out there and, be advocates for us when you hear things, and, always question things, and the stuff that you see on TV or in social media, really isn't always the full story. Some do it better than others, and so you have to look at the whole story. But thank you for your interest, and good luck on Thursdays. Now you got to make dinner. All right, thank you.
No,
thank you, Mayor and Council.
Yeah, us as council, we're just so appreciative of our police force, and anybody who wants to take the time to learn. We have a Citizen Civic Academy. We've had different machinations throughout the years, but the police Citizens Academy has always been popular. People incredibly support our police department here. We're so very thankful for you willing to give up your time to learn a little bit more. I've been this elected guy for 13 years, and I've been run through a few different scenarios, and I've just been humbled by who we have working for us, making sure our community is safe. So I'm sure I speak for all the council. Thank you very much. And if everyone can come up in front of the dais here so we can get a picture, that'd be fantastic, who graduated. Thank you.
Come on up, and then we'll just face out that way.
You got it. You did amazing. Thank you. You did amazing. Cool.
I know, I'm like, he's
Move
tall.
this way a little bit.
Well,
Put Todd, squeeze him in so that
we can do that if you want.
we're looking at.
Bree.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right.
Does anybody want their money back?
Nice job. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Great.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
right. All right. Okay, the next item is public comment. No action will be taken on these items. Public comment is an opportunity for town residents and other interested individuals to speak about items that are not on the agenda. This comment period is limited to 30 minutes total time. Each individual has a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. You must sign up ahead of time in order to comment, and that sign-up begins 30 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. The council will accommodate as many speakers as possible at this time, with preference to town residents, but if the public comment extends beyond the allocated 30 minutes, we have time at the end. At this point, we only have one individual signed up. John, I do not want to butcher your last name. My apologies, but I want to be respectful. The floor is yours, sir. Name and address.
Good evening. My name is John Sagelke. My last name is spelled Segelke, and my address is 3821 South Grape Street, Denver 80237.
Okay. Great.
Can I begin?
Yep, please.
I'm the general manager of 98 West Parker, LLLP, owner of property at Newland Crossing, a planned development located at the northeast corner of Main Street and Chambers Road. Newland Crossing includes both residential and retail land. Lennar Homes purchased the residential land from us in 2020, and they are currently under construction on a mix of different residential product types, and we still own the retail land, which has not been developed. I recently wrote a detailed letter to town council and mayor of the consequences the land use setback restrictions on retail uses currently being discussed would have on Newland Crossing, and I want to make a few public comments here tonight. If those restrictions are implemented, it will prevent the retail land at Newland Crossing from being developed anytime soon. It is not only ironic, but also unjust if additional restrictions now be placed on that property. It was the town, not us, who demanded retail uses at Newland Crossing. Nevertheless, our partnership worked very hard and in good faith with the town to develop the Newland Crossing Development Guide, designed in a specific way to provide a complementary mix of residential and retail uses to help ensure the entire development would be successful. Economic factors dictate the sequence of development, and only until recently has the retail land become feasible to develop. Despite Lennar helping up fund and install infrastructure necessary to serve the retail land, millions of dollars of on-site development costs on the retail land remain. Development costs have skyrocketed, making it all the more critical retail developers are able to secure the users in the market that best help facilitate the build-out of the rest of the project. But these are the uses that will most likely be disallowed when all the setback requirements are considered. The development guide we have now will allow the retail land to get developed in the near future. Any additional restrictions will prevent it from happening for years to come. I hope town council will remove Newland Crossing from consideration. Our partnership is not capable of taking the property any further, and no developer I've talked to can make the project pencil if these restrictions get applied. And I hope to speak with town representatives very soon after this to discuss further. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have received the email. Council has seen the response as well, and hopefully we'll monitor with staff. Is there anybody else at this time for public comment? Seeing none, we will close public comment at 7:11. Thank you. The next item, reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. Councilmember Hefta.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This past week, we had I attended a Douglas County Homeless Commission meeting, And the update there was that they're going to convene a retail crime summit to address the retail crime that is happening across Douglas County with the DA and various law enforcement offices across Douglas County. In addition, there's 21 new clients that the HEART team is serving. 25 clients have exited, 146 new referrals and 0 encampments, and there was 19 business engagements and trespass letters handed out. And it was about 21% of the calls for Parker for assistance on homelessness in the past month. In addition, I attended a media training with the town, the Mayor Pro Tem, the mayor, and myself. And then I've been responding to various resident concerns throughout the month. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Franzen.
Taking notes. It's good to be back. I was out of country there for a little bit, but I'm back. I was able to participate in the farmers market, the town of Parker booth with several of my fellow council members and the mayor, and had some robust discussions with some citizens. It was a good opportunity to interact with everybody and see the farmers market in person from a different perspective. Last Thursday, with Councilmember Wilkes, we attended the Police Academy graduation of Matthew Taylor. So welcome to the police department. We're excited to have him. Thrilled, actually, to have more officers on the team. And then on Friday night, I participated in the Parker Days, Parker Chamber of Commerce booth, handing out maps, Frisbees, bags, along with Councilmember Wilkes. Again, it was a great event. I think Parker Days was a huge success overall.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilkes?
As I'm choking and my feet aren't touching the ground right now, so this is fun. On June 3rd, I went and just got to talk to some employees at the employee pancake breakfast that I think it's our town manager's office that puts on for all the employees, right? Yeah, so that was phenomenal. And then on June 3rd as well, along with the mayor and Councilmember Barrington, we went to the sponsor recognition event. The town of Parker sponsors with the Rotary Club, and they had their recognition for that at the Harley-Davidson here in Parker. And then we attended a police swearing-in ceremony on June 4th. We poached a really good one from another agency, so I'm excited about that and excited to get him going if he's not already, but excited to see him out there. Had a ribbon cutting for the Chamber of Commerce for the Service Street Auto Repair. It's actually been in the town for quite a long time, but they are recent to the chamber and wanted to just get their name out there again, so it was wonderful to meet the owners of that. And then, along with what Councilmember Franzen said, I also, on Saturday, June 14th, with the mayor, we also were at the chamber booth for Parker Days, just handing out swag and answering questions for anybody that had them.
All right. Councilmember Barrington?
So, quick update. There were several things going on again, but just in the interest of time, I'll just highlight a couple of those events that I think kind of reflect the spirit of service and collaboration we have here in Parker. On June 6th, I attended the Eagle Awards ceremony with the Douglas County Housing Partnership, where we were nominated for our work on the Unity on Park project in Castle Rock. We didn't win, unfortunately, but even being in the room with so many impactful projects was just a reminder that we're moving in the right direction and making a real difference. And I guess on a separate and exciting note, a lot of council knows this, but Douglas County Housing Partnership just actually won a MetroVision Award from DRCOG with our Prop 123 collaboration and the IGA efforts here in Douglas County. This award recognizes innovation, collaboration, and problem solving across the region. So it's a big deal. And it's a great example of what strong partnerships can accomplish. And the formal ceremony for that will be on August 27th. And Councilmember Dyack and Wilkes will probably be attending.
Probably the mayor, too. All right.
So that is it. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Hendricks?
Well, it's good to be back. Been gone for a while, but did attend the farmers market as Councilman Erica told us to everyone here, and that's it.
All right. Yes, again, Parker Day is a great event put on by the Chamber of Commerce. I think we all took our turn in either in the chamber booth or just being there with our kiddos. Always a good event. On the 4th, I had a DRCOG, Douglas County Transportation Forum meeting where CDOT reviewed their Project Priority Programming Process, or 4P. That's a high-level plan that they put together annually to identify needs within Colorado. On the 12th, we had an E470 board meeting, and largely it was just operations, doing contract amendments and approvals for IT and State Patrol. And with that, that is all I have for my report. The next item, consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and vote. There will be no separate discussion of consent agenda items unless council votes to remove an item for individual discussion. Ordinances on the consent agenda are for introduction only and will not be removed for discussion. And with that, I'm happy to either remove something or entertain a motion.
Move to approve consent agenda items A through F.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Wilkes, a second by Councilmember Franzen. Councilmember Hendricks, how you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Barrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Wilkes?
Aye.
Councilmember Dykes, a yes. Councilmember Franzen?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefta?
Yes.
So we have a unanimous 6-0 vote. Thank you. The next section is ordinances. We have ordinance number 5.06.47, second reading, a bill for an ordinance to amend section 8.09.020 of the Parker Municipal Code to permit the carrying of firearms on town hall property and old town hall property in certain circumstances, and to establish an exemption from State Bill 24-131. And with that, Ms. Grammer.
Hello, Council.
Hello.
I do have a brief PowerPoint just to make sure the issues are clear on what this ordinance actually addresses. So back in May of 2024, the legislature passed a law that stated you cannot have firearms in certain areas, and that became in effect in July 1st of 2024. And specifically, the parts that this ordinance would address have to deal with the ability to carry a firearm, whether loaded or unloaded, in government buildings, in areas like this chamber, in areas where you guys are having meetings, so in Old Town Hall, while there's construction going on, and then any building or portion of a building where there is court proceedings, so again, at times, this chamber. The reason for this ordinance, again, there is an opt-out provision within the ordinance, within the law that would allow for firearms to be carried by citizens and town employees in these certain sensitive spaces. And this ordinance does maximize the ability to do that, protects the Second Amendment right, and balances it with safety needs. What I did want to make clear for anybody listening and for council is that that law that was passed, Senate Bill 24-131, touched on other parts and made other places where you can no longer have guns loaded, unloaded, open carry, concealed carry. There is no exception that this body of government can do to that. And so that's at daycares, and that's at polling locations and drop boxes. Now, there are built-in exceptions, but again, nothing for police officers, things like that, but nothing more that this body could do. And so this ordinance fully complies with the different sections of that statute and would again allow the maximum ability for people to carry both citizens and employees. So it's pretty straightforward, but if there's any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, any questions? Councilmember Hefta.
Just for clarity purposes, thank you. Just again, we can't affect the daycares, polling locations, and drop boxes. That's a matter of state law. There's no opt-out provision in that. But what you are mentioning tonight is that a citizen who did want to have their weapon on them coming into council chambers or coming into a government building, or whether that's a regular citizen or somebody that is an employee, we are proposing this ordinance so that those individuals could do that. Is that correct?
Yes, within the parameters. So when this is a courthouse, basically, you would not be able to do that, including employees elsewhere in the building, but there will, as the ordinance lays out, be a sign clearly posted about that. And then when there are drop boxes. Now, the drop boxes at the police department are fine because law enforcement is allowed to carry, even by a polling place when they're in their lawful capacity, which they are when they're at the police department. So to answer your question, though, yes, there's nothing to do with daycares or other polling locations.
So, like, for instance, we have drop boxes right now, okay, because we have an election upcoming. So could you describe this circumstance?
So during that time, when there is drop boxes outside of town hall, or if we're doing polling for a local election or things like that, at that time, people would not be allowed to carry firearms, and that will be clear that at that time they cannot. But when it's not during those times, people would be able to.
Okay, and so this is the ordinance we have in front of us tonight to allow this opt-out provision from the state law, but not on daycares, polling locations, and drop boxes, because that's clearly not allowed of something we can opt out on.
Exactly. There's nothing more you could do on that. This ordinance allows for the maximum opt-out.
Thank you.
Councilmember Franzen.
I think the only thing I wanted to clarify is it beyond daycares, it also listed secondary schools, public schools, any sort of educational institution.
Yes,
Right.
but specifically for this purpose, the town does have a daycare at the field house. And so there would be no carrying of firearms at the field house, except for, again, law enforcement, and other exceptions that are just baked into that statute, but there's nothing more we can do.
Got it. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilkes.
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Barrington.
No, I think I got them answered. Thank you.
Councilmember Hendricks.
No questions.
All right. Seeing no other questions, happy to open it up for public comment. If there's anybody for the comment on this item, please step to the podium. Seeing none, I will close public comment, 7:23. Happy to turn it back to council for deliberation or a motion. Councilmember
Are we
Hefta,
doing
any
deliberation or motion?
questions?
Just, I think this is a very good balance that we can strike, and the way that we can protect these Second Amendment rights within the full ability of the law of us as town council members here that are able to do so. Thank you.
Councilmember Franzen.
I have nothing to add.
All right. Councilmember Wilkes.
Yeah, I mean, at least this council up here knows how I feel. I think it's our officers' right to be able to protect their government, and by saying that they weren't allowed to do their job, I think was ludicrous. So I'm glad that we found a way to allow them to still come do it. And, this building is for the citizens. This is the citizens' building. So being able to give that back to them and say, this is your right to do what you need to do here. To a degree, I support that, and I'm glad that we were able to do this. So thank you.
Councilmember Barrington.
I think this ordinance is a smart step towards preserving our local control and honoring individual rights. And it stays aligned with both the state laws and our values here in Parker. So I do support this, and I appreciate all of your thoughtful work that has gone into this.
Councilmember Hendricks.
No comments.
All right. With no other comments before me on council, happy to entertain a motion.
I move to approve ordinance number 5.06.47 on second reading.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hendricks, a second by Councilmember Wilkes. How do you vote, Councilmember Wilkes?
Oh, aye.
Councilmember Barrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Hendricks? Councilmember Dykes, a yes. Councilmember Franzen?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefton?
Yes.
We have a 6-0 yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You threw me, starting with me.
I'm mixing it up a bit.
Clearly.
It's okay. The next item, we have three different ordinances. I'm going to read them all in at one time, one presentation, but we're going to need three different motions. Next item is parking and abandoned vehicles. Ordinance number 5.23.10 on second reading, a bill for an ordinance to amend Chapter 7.02 of the Parker Municipal Code concerning restrictions on parking and abandoned vehicles. The second, ordinance number 5.06.48, second reading, a bill for an ordinance to amend Chapter 7.04 of the Park and Municipal Code concerning abandoned vehicles. And the last one, ordinance number 5.55.1, second reading, a bill for an ordinance to amend Section 10.01.070 of the Park Municipal Code concerning parking of vehicles on public streets within subdivisions. Ms. Hall.
All right, thank you, Council. As Mayor Pro Tem Dyak stated, I'm here to present 3 ordinances related to parking. I will go through each of these in turn. If it makes sense to stop for questions after each portion, I'm happy to do that, and then we'll take them as they come. All right, we're going to start with ordinance 5.23.10, which would update Chapter 7.02 of the code. So what this ordinance would do is it would add a new section that prohibits parking in any area where parking has been restricted for an event. So Parker Days, for example, we closed all the streets. If you leave your car there, that would now not be allowed. We hadn't really had a strong language addressing that before. So this would apply when we have posted signage that restricts the parking for that event, so people would have notice. It would be punishable by a fine. We could put a boot on the person's car, or they could be towed. And again, this is necessary because we do have a lot of events in Parker. A lot of them will close parking lots or the roads, and there are on occasion times when people do not remember to take their cars, and that could disrupt the space of the event, which again, someone has gotten a permit for, or it could even create a safety issue if someone were trying to get their car in the middle of an event that is supposed to be blocked off for pedestrians only. So that would be the first portion. The second would be we added language that prohibits parking in an area where any signage has designated a maximum amount of time to park in that location. So if we say 2-hour parking, 24-hour parking, whatever, or if we say parking's only between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., you have to follow that signage. Again, this would only apply to town-owned property, would be punishable by a fine. The third section deletes language allowing private property owners to request signs from the town to designate parkings for individuals with disabilities. This isn't something that we do. The state does that. So we thought we would clean that up. And then finally, while we were in the ordinance, we noticed there was some outdated language referring to handicapped individuals. We use the term individuals with a disability now. That aligns us with the state and just general parlance. So those are the major changes to 7.02. Do you have any questions?
Great. Thank you very much. Councilmember Franzen, any questions?
No questions.
Councilmember Afton?
Yes. And I do see our police chief here too. I just wanted more information on the actual towing.
And we will actually get to that in the second part of my presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Wilkes?
So 2 questions. So under the event illegal parking right now, these are, temporary signs that are put up before the event that say no parking. And I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but historically, the person who has held the permit has had to pay for towing to get those cars removed on their own. And this would just allow it to actually be now part of our law, essentially. So from my understanding, we didn't really have any teeth before, so it was just hypothetically someone could tow. I think what's actually happened is we had our police officers trying to track down the owners of those vehicles and call them. It took an enormous amount of staff time. We really don't like to tow unless there's a very compelling reason. So I think it was actually a lot of staff time that was involved. But Chief or Jamie can correct me if I'm incorrect.
That's correct. And also, this would allow us to recoup any costs associated with towing that the town has to expend with the citation that would go to municipal court.
Perfect. Thank you.
Councilmember Barrington?
I'm going to hold my questions until you get through all 3.
Okay.
Okay.
No questions.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
All right, the second ordinance, which is 5.06.48, would update Chapter 7.04 of the code. This would limit the amount of time a car can be parked in any of our public lots. Currently, the code has it at 48 hours. You can be parked in a public parking lot unless, of course, there's signage. This would remove it. This would move it down to 24 hours or the amount of time stated on a sign. We had discussions that this is intended to help kind of move traffic through Parker. It helps our small businesses, especially downtown, so they have more people who who are coming was one of the reasons that we wanted to kind of lower that limit. It would also update our enforcement process. So previously, the only thing we could really do was place a notice of violation on the vehicle, or if we could contact the owner, serve that to them. Now we can issue a summons and complaint to come into Muni Court. We can also have the vehicle towed at the owner's expense, which is a little more expedient. There's also a new section which explains our towing process. Before, we didn't really have like a good, clear process on how that could happen. So we talk about who can authorize the tow. That would either be the town, usually the police department, or an event permit holder themselves. The vehicle can be towed either to the impoundment lot of the towing company, or we can designate an area. So let's say, again, we've got a Parker Days, and we know that there might be quite a few cars that need to be moved. We could say, all right, you can go pick your car up at Salisbury. So that way people might not have that cost associated with getting their car free from car jail. We have to figure out if the vehicle was stolen. Police would do that. And then we also have a section on what happens if we can't contact the owner. At a certain point, it'll go under our abandoned property section, and so we would treat it that way, as we do with other property where we can't identify the owner. Those are the new sections.
All right. Any questions on this one? I'm just looking for a head nod. If there are, great. If not, I will go individually. Councilmember Hefta.
I still want to hear from the police chief if I
absolutely.
can on the towing. Just so residents understand. Kelsey's wonderful, but I love to hear from our police chief on these towing procedures, and just to give an example of the Parker Days this past weekend. So just to throw one out, let's just say you have a series of individuals that they know they're not supposed to be there. They don't move their car. Say it's during Parker Days or any other big event, and tell us how this procedure looks.
So for us, I mean, our goal is to, if we can find the owner and have them, come and move it, that'd be ideal. But a lot of times we don't have that ability, or it takes up too much time, like Kelsey was explaining. So in order for the owners of the vehicle not to incur costs, let's say somebody went down and, had a few too many drinks and didn't want to drive, left their car there, and, it's there in the morning when the streets are closed, we would tow that vehicle to a town-owned facility or somewhere that's predetermined to be able to have them go and pick it up so they don't incur the costs. If there's no town facility available, like O'Brien Park or, Town Hall or somewhere nearby, then we always have the option to impound the vehicle, and they would incur those costs. But that would be a last resort if we didn't have a facility to have it towed to.
And then, of course, there would be that notification, email, letter, phone call to the individual where their vehicle is located. And would they incur a cost on that particular if it was towed to a town lot, or no?
They wouldn't incur the storage fees. I think there'd be a cost that's associated with that, with the actual tow, but they wouldn't incur those storage fees. A lot of times we'll try to make contact with the registered owner, but a lot of times people will return back the next day, see that their car's not there, and then they usually call us to find out if we towed it or to report it stolen. So we'll have notes in the CAD system, which is the computer-aided dispatch system, and we'll be able to explain that and where their vehicle's at and where they can retrieve it.
Thank you. And a typical tow costs how much these days, Chief? About $100?
I think about $125, $150, right around there.
That sounds right. We just did that contract.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it's
so.
in the 100-ish, like mid-hundreds.
Yeah, I think so.
So this is an effective, do you think this is an effective compromise based on what you've seen in Parker, and from your perspective, what your officers have had to deal with over the years?
Well, I can tell you, I've been here, I've been with the town, I've been with the police department over 30 years, and this has been an ongoing problem for any event that was, happening downtown, is always trying to move vehicles for the event, whether it was a parade or Parker Days or Brewfest, Oktoberfest, or whatever event we're having. So I think it's a good alternative and a compromise to, help both sides.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great. Thank you very much. Kelsey, the last one.
Yeah, the last ordinance is 5.55.1. This would update section 10.01.070 of the code. So right now, this section provides that the town has the exclusive authority to regulate parking on public streets, except for subsection B, which was passed in 2001. And it basically says if you had pre-existing regulations about parking, usually for an HOA, on the street, then that could continue, basically grandfathers that in. But then 3 years ago, I don't know what year it is, it's 2022, the Colorado legislature passed House Bill 221139, which prohibits HOAs specifically from regulating the use of public rights-of-way, so our roads. So that basically means that these grandfathered regulations no longer have any effect. This created some confusion with subsection B. We didn't want anyone to think it affirmatively gave people the right to continue regulating parking when we don't have the ability to grant that authority anyway. So we are recommending just striking subsection B altogether to make sure everyone's on the same page.
All right. Councilmember Barrington, questions?
I think you answered all of my questions. I just have some comments now.
Okay. Councilmember Hendricks.
I can't wait for those comments. No questions.
All right. Councilmember Franzen.
No questions.
Councilmember Wilkes.
No questions.
Councilmember Hefta has a question, I'm sure. Councilmember Hefta.
Just for clarification purposes.
Of course.
Thank you, Kelsey. Could you please go over the Colorado legislature and House Bill 221139 and what that did in the state of Colorado?
So in very basic terms, it just says the intention is we're not going to regulate on-street parking. So if you would like to park your car in front of your house or anyone wants to park on the street, they can. This says any sort of restricted covenant, including by a homeowners association, that restricts parking on a public street is no longer valid. Jamie, is that pretty accurate, would you say?
For the parking provision, I
Yes.
think homeowners associations are creations of statutory authority. And so this was limiting what authority homeowners associations were enacting. So things like you hear in the news about flags being put outside of people's homes. This bill removed the HOA's ability to restrict certain things like that, and one of the things they focused on was parking. So it was a broader bill, but for our purposes, it basically said they could no longer regulate parking on public roadways.
On public roadways, not their private lots.
If it were a
Correct.
private street, then hypothetically they could regulate that, but we
We don't have that many
I
private
don't think
streets,
we
do
have
we?
that many.
Do we have any?
Stage
I'm sure we
run,
do.
I think.
Some of the subdivisions may have private roadways. We have some that are commercial, like Apache Plume is a private roadway. It's a commercial roadway. I don't know if we have any in residential. Certainly, other neighborhoods nearby, other cities do have private roadways that are more in like the patio home type subdivisions. But
Yeah,
I don't know that Parker does.
Thank you. I know that on patio homes that they have to regulate that because there's not enough space, but I don't think we have any patio homes in Parker
I
that I
don't believe so.
remember.
Not that I'm aware
Maybe
of.
some other town council members could help me out on that. Thank you.
All right. I know of no patio homes, but I think it's desirable. People have been asking about that, but no patio
We
homes.
have patio homes.
All right. With that, I'm happy to entertain public comment. If there's comment on these ordinances, please step up to the microphone. Seeing none, I will close public comment at 7:40. Bring it back to council for comments or deliberation. Council Member Hendricks.
No, this cleans up some language, so it's pretty straightforward.
Councilmember Barrington.
I thought we'd have a packed house tonight. So, but a couple comments. Towing on weekends, actual weekends when these events are being held can actually be upward of $400. So I don't know of any other municipality that shows this kind of courtesy. So I think that this is, it's a good cleanup and alignment efforts, and it's going to help us enforce parking rules fairly and transparently. And I just really appreciate this balance. So thank you for all of your hard work on this too.
Councilmember Wilkes.
No, ditto. You did great. Thank you.
Councilmember Franzen.
Yeah, the only piece I would add, right, is the ordinance number 5.55.1 is that, that's bringing us more into compliance, actually not more, but into compliance with Colorado state law. So I'm in support of all this.
All right. Councilmember Hefton.
Yeah, it's a matter of state law on this matter, and we have to follow it. Thank you.
All right. All right. With nothing else, no more comments or deliberation, I'm happy to entertain a motion. Remember, I need 3 motions, and we will vote after each motion and second.
I move to approve motion number 5.23.10 on second reading.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Wilks, second by Councilmember Hendricks. Councilmember Wilks, how would you vote?
Would you stop starting with me? You're throwing me off. Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Barrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Hendricks.
Yes.
Councilmember Hefta.
Yes.
Councilmember Franzen.
Yes.
Councilmember Dyak is a yes. So 6-0. Thank you so
I'm
much.
waiting for you to answer.
I move to approve ordinance number 5.06.48 on second reading.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion by Councilmember Hendricks, second by Councilmember Barrington. Councilmember Barrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Wilks.
Aye.
Councilmember Hendricks.
Sure.
Councilmember Dyak, a yes. Councilmember Franzen.
Yes.
Councilmember Hefta.
Yes.
All right. 6-0. Thank you very much.
I move to approve ordinance number 5.55.1 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hendricks, second by Councilmember Franzen. Councilmember Hefta.
Yes.
Councilmember Franzen.
Yes.
Councilmember Dyak, a yes. Councilmember Barrington. Councilmember Hendricks.
Yes.
Councilmember Wilks.
Killing me. Aye.
All right, 6-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kelsey. The next one, ordinance number 5.28.37, second reading, a bill for an ordinance to amend Chapter 5.02 of the Park Municipal Code authorizing the town clerk to administratively establish the neighborhood for new applications and applications for a change of location based on guidelines set forth by the Special Licensing Authority. Ms. Vanderpool.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is code cleanup in part. On April 7th of 2025, Council approved Resolution 25024, which delegated the establishment of the relative neighborhood for liquor license applications to the Special Licensing Authority. So this ordinance will update the municipal code to authorize the town clerk to administratively establish the neighborhood for new applications and applications for the change of location based on the guidelines set forth by the Special Licensing Authority, Resolution 25-02, which was approved by the authority on April 17th, 2025. So if approved, this ordinance will alleviate one step in the liquor license application process. Instead of the applicant coming before the authority twice, staff will be able to provide the applicant with the boundary map, to use for petitioning purposes for the needs and desires of the neighborhood requirement for new or change of location liquor license applications. The applicant will also be provided a public hearing date for when their application will be heard by the Special Licensing Authority. This amendment to the municipal code will allow staff to provide for a more efficient and customer service friendly process for the applicant. The amendment will also aid in making it better use of the authority's time. The authority reviewed the ordinance at their May 15th meeting and recommended unanimously that the town council approve this ordinance. Is there any questions?
All right, thank you. Councilmember Wilks, any questions?
So I know, okay, rewinding. So I understand the process of what special liquor licenses have to go through before they can get approved, but can you just, for the record, state what the current process is that they have to do when they are establishing the neighborhoods?
So once the applicant submits a completed application, it's moved forward to the Special Licensing Authority. Right now, the authority approves the boundaries and also the public hearing date. So that's one hearing. So then the applicant will come on the public hearing date and present their application to the Special Licensing Authority. So this will just alleviate that first, the setting the boundaries and the public hearing date setting.
And by doing so, that'll allow the applicants, our business owners here locally that are essentially wanting to get going faster, that'll allow them to kind of speed up the process to get their business up and running because the boundaries will already be set and they can go petition the neighborhood, correct?
Correct, and the guidelines will be, the authorities made them more user-friendly, probably less expensive than what we have done previously as far as petitioning goes.
And we trust our SLA because they are essentially a board appointed by this council. So we trust when they come forward to us and say, this is something that's going to mainstream the process and something
Correct.
that we think is going to benefit our citizens.
Correct.
Perfect, thank you.
Councilmember Barrington?
So the special licensing authority just meets once a month?
Correct.
So if somebody misses a deadline, they could still possibly have their event? How long, because
Well, this
administratively,
is
how
a liquor
long?
license application. This is not special events. This is a liquor license application for, say, a hotel restaurant
Oh,
to have
okay.
liquor at their establishment,
All right,
or at a retail liquor store, or at a beer and wine restaurant, convenience store, those types of applications.
glad I asked, thank you. Sounds like this is going to just take, I think this sounds like a good idea. That was in the form of a question. I think this is a good idea.
All right.
Staff
Councilmember,
believes it's a good idea, yes.
that's usually my thing. Councilmember
Really?
Hendricks?
No questions.
Councilmember Franzen?
So Chris, can you talk about how the boundary is currently set, right? Because this is also changing the way the boundary is established.
No,
Correct.
that's already been done previously.
Perfect. I
Okay.
don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilmember Hefta?
This still provides a process, Chris, in which someone can apply for a liquor license.
Absolutely.
They still have to go through all the steps of submitting an application, getting a boundary map. Can you mention a few other steps?
So their application's reviewed, they still have to go through background check, they still have to go through a public hearing, and meet all the requirements.
Thank you.
All right. With no further questions, happy to open it up for public comment. If there's anyone out in the audience who would like to public comment on this item, please step forward to the microphone. Seeing none, I will close public comment at 7:49 and bring it back to council for comments or deliberation. Councilmember Wilks.
No, anytime that we can take a board that we've entrusted and we can take their recommendations because they're essentially our boots on the ground. They're seeing what our business owners are going through and they're seeing what the applicants are going through. And when they come to us with a recommendation, I want to trust that. And having previously served on the SLA, I can tell you this is awesome because I can't tell you how many businesses would come to us and say, well, now I have to Ann's point, wait a whole nother month before I can go back in front of the SLA to get my neighborhood boundaries. So I'm excited about this process and it has my support.
Councilmember Barrington.
I think it's a smart and just a simple change, and it's going to improve efficiency. But we still will have transparency. It's going to help applicants move through the process faster, and it just respects the time of both staff and the special licensing authority. Thanks.
Councilmember Hendricks.
I'm in agreement with my fellow council members. I'm in favor.
Councilmember Franzen.
I have nothing to add. I'm also in agreement.
Councilmember Hefton.
This process is fair, it's transparent, and it's streamlining the process a bit for our special liquor license applicants. Thank you.
All right. With no more comments or deliberation, I'm happy to entertain a motion.
I move to approve ordinance number 5.28.37, second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Franzen, a second by Councilmember Wilks. Councilmember Franzen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefton.
Yes?
Councilmember Diak, yes. Councilmember Wilks.
Aye.
Councilmember Barrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Hendricks.
Yes.
All right. We have a 6-0 yes. Thank you very much. With no further items before council, I will adjourn the council meeting at 7:51.